outright silly sometimes. But I've just chosen an episode today from 1999, which is when he was working there. And I thought maybe we could just run through it like we usually run through our modern shows. Kind of do a retro review of an old Raw episode. What do you guys think? You guys down for that or what?
Yeah.
Sure, man. Why not?
Right.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of conversations we get out of watching this episode.
Sure. All right, cool. I'm glad you guys are down, on board. That's why you guys are my friends, man. You guys are down for anything. Well, not anything. But...
Almost anything.
All right. So let's compare this. We'll judge them just like in the way we do our modern shows, and let's keep an eye out for possible Vince Russo ideas, something that you could point to and be like, oh, that must be Vince Russo. And maybe in the future, if we talk about him again or if he comes up, we can make like a compilation playlist or something of a lot of these segments where we could point to what went on here. So the episode I've chosen today for our Malapert Smark listeners out there is WWF Raw from May 10th, 1999. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys. And we'll be watching this here. We can see it clearly, but I'm going to have to fuzz it out a little bit when I put it on YouTube because, you know, can't put copyrighted material on there. But I think I can make it in a way so that people will kind of make out what's going on and they know what we're talking about enough to where WWF won't get mad and you have to pay for Peacock to see this if you guys want to. This is from everything's on Peacock. WWE sold their archive to the Peacock app and it's all on there. It's very nice and beautiful. Go on there and watch every WWF show ever. So let's see how this show started. We're not going to play any sound. We're just going to like describe the show, have a summary. But this was the old intro with the old hyped up music. The feud going on is the corporate ministry against the union. I forgot how it arose, but the corporate ministry was basically Shane McMahon with The Undertaker and Triple H. And they're on one side. And the union is like a bunch of guys been like hard done luck, like Mankind, Test, and Stone Cold and The Rock are fighting with them against the corporate ministry. And Vince McMahon is a babyface here. He's with Vince. He's with Stone Cold and The Rock in this whole in this little war they're having. So they do a little review of what happened last week. It's been a big melee and all types of madness going on. But this is leading to Over the Limit, which is in 2 weeks. And the main event is supposed to be Stone Cold and The Undertaker with Shane McMahon as the special referee because Shane is kind of in charge and he's being abuse of power type of guy. So he made himself the referee. So let's see how this show starts. Let's kick it off. Who comes out first? Kane. So Kane is the first guy who comes in. He's tag team champion here with X-Pac. So I think he's they're in a feud with Billy Gunn or something. And this match is going to be Billy Gunn against Kane. And, oh, this was weird. Some fan just ran in and gave Billy Gunn a hug.
That was a work or a shoot?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I didn't research this episode that much. I'm just watching it the same way we're watching it together. So
I mean, how is it that Billy Gunn looks better now than he did then?
Right? He's more jacked to the brim now. He looks incredible. So this is a regular match, I guess. Let's see what happens. This is some of the work. Look at how they bounce off the ropes, like really bounce off the ropes. People don't really do that anymore. They just touch the ropes. And look at these. They're like grown adult men flinging their whole body weight. That was kind of cool to see. Something I noticed a difference between today's wrestling. This is the ending, I think. Kane got trapped in here and he was beating him up and his partner X-Pac comes. I think Road Dogg and Billy Gunn turned on each other at this point. This is past when they were together or something. So Road Dogg is cool. Look at that. It's got some good personality. We don't have personalities like that in wrestling anymore, man.
No,
these guys are too plain. Kind of fun to see. But so these guys fight off. What happens? Oh, more tag team. So this is like a tag team melee. I think D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry are a tag team, and they come in and they see an opportunity to attack. That looks kind of fake. Kane's not selling really, so I don't know what's going on there. Move along with the show, see what happens next. Oh, so here's Vince. He's with the union. I don't know what happened at the end of this storyline. I'm just choosing a random episode, but he must have turned on these guys at some point. It must have been a swerve. But
yeah, did he end up being the higher power?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so he's over as a face in this. Like, the crowd is really, like, buying him and into it. I don't know why, but and people should have known by then, but I don't know. They used to do storylines better back then, so people believed him. So here he comes out with the Union. Let's see who some of the guys we see. Test, Ken Shamrock. They're like working class people, so they're walking around with a 2x4.
Big Show too.
Big Show's in there too. And The Rock and Stone Cold are associated with them from what I gather, but I don't know. They're not coming out with them really, but Vince gets on the mic and he calls out Shane McMahon. And like, you need to get out here or don't be a coward. Or says it better than I do. I wish we could listen to the audio, but we're not going to do that on this show. But Shane's group comes out. Let's see who's this. The Mean Street Posse. The Undertaker, Triple H. Chyna's back there. I see the Big Boss Man. I think APA, Farouk, and Bradshaw is in this.
Yeah, so it was a big group. They had a big group.
Big group. Oh, you know who gets on the screen is Shawn Michaels. So he's the general manager at this point, or the commissioner. So he gets on there and he makes a bunch of matches. So this was like, he talked for a very long time. If I was to give a critique of this episode, I thought this was too long. So he's on that big screen for a really long time, announcing a bunch of matches and stuff that he's going to do as commissioner. So he says, because The Undertaker and Stone Cold are in a match and Shane's the referee, that's not fair. So he adds Vince as the referee too. Okay. He makes Pat Patterson versus the Mean Street Posse, Ken Shamrock versus Chyna, male versus female. That's kind of a weird one, but they're on opposite sides of this. If I could jump to some of these facial reactions, they're pretty funny. There's Shamrock when he found out he had to face a woman. It was like, what the hell? But Chyna was all about it, as we'll see later in the episode. Paul Bearer has to face Big Show, so he fainted.
Okay, that was the best one.
Hilarious.
Oh, and The Undertaker can't interfere or else he'll lose his title match at Over the Limit. What else did he come up with? Let me just list the evening's matches. Cactus Jack against Viscera and Midian. Falls Count Anywhere, no DQ, lazy booking, as Jim Cornette would say. Sable versus Deborah in an evening gown match. That's
Well, that definitely sounds a little Russo-ish.
right. So Sable has to show up to the match or she'll be stripped of her title. And then he makes a 6-man match for tonight. Even back then, 6-man main event. It's going to be Triple H, The Undertaker, and Shane against Stone Cold, The Rock, and Vince McMahon with a special referee. So Shane gets on the mic.
That's not bad. That's not a bad main event, though.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Shane gets on the mic. He's like, you're not even here. I'm going to be the one to pick the special referee because he's got some stroke around there for some reason. I don't know how this happened, but I guess it must be because Vince is really the one in charge. HBK's like, I am there, and he's one of the Riot Squad police in the ring, so he actually was there. So that was a kind of
his stripper act.
Yeah. So that tripped the crowd out that he was actually there. So that was kind of cool.
Which is like, what the hell?
Hey, HBK was a showman, man. He was a true showman. So he names himself the special referee for this match tonight. Okay, there we go. We're about 20 minutes into the show. We got a main event. Show's working well so far, I guess. Let's see what's next. Steve Blackman. He's just doing some karate stuff. Just a video of him showing. I don't know. You ever like this guy, Vlad? I mean, I definitely remember him as a kid, but I don't know.
Well, I remember him. I don't remember anything specific about him.
Yeah, he seemed kind of a boring guy to me. He never talked. He was just a decent worker, I guess. But okay, so they promote him a little bit there.
Well, I mean, he was a legit badass, but not probably a good captivating wrestling character.
So Big Show, this is gonna go against Paul Bearer. This is a strange match, but he has to do it. So he doesn't want to do it. He's like, no. But then HBK comes out and is like, you got to go. He forces him to get out there. And he's trying to beg his way out. This is pretty wild, honestly. This is kind of sucks for Paul Bearer. What do you think, Vlad? Is he gonna get out of this? There's no way out of this. HBK takes his place at the announce table.
I guess he's just gonna, unless somebody comes in and helps him, he's probably just gonna.
Well, it can be Undertaker.
But isn't there like a ton of members in this group? They could probably interfere for him.
I think no one can interfere, but no, he's just going to take a kick to the face. He took a bump. That was a pretty good bump right there.
Oh, yeah. This guy, Paul Bear, he's been in the wrestling business a long time. He knows how to take complaints.
So let me move forward a little bit in this show. Let's see who comes out. Big Show gets on the mic, and he wants to fight The Undertaker. And he asks Shawn Michaels to like lift the ban on interference. And The Undertaker comes out, very dramatic entrance. So it's always nice to see The Undertaker come out. Very slowly, walks to the ringside and stares at the Big Show while the Big Show continues to pummel Paul Bearer. But they don't actually fight. I think the corporate ministry, the rest of them come out, and there's like a big melee. So they're going to beat down the Big Show, and the rest of the Union comes out. So this is like a big war, two big factions. The crowd is all into it. Every match with this rivalry, because the whole show is linked with this rivalry. Every match on this show is kind of has to do with being on one side or the other. Crowd was hot for this show, really hot. So here comes Deborah, and she's going to face... Yeah, this might be the Vince Russo segment of our show today. Oh, yeah. So there's for Sable. Sure. So an evening gown match, I guess. What are the rules of an evening gown match, Vlad?
You gotta. Oh, I'm an expert. Let me tell you. You gotta rip that baby up, rip the evening gown up until you're in your, I guess, bra and your panties. I guess. I don't know. Yes, that seems like that's what. But wait. It doesn't look like Sable's already I don't know what the hell Sable's wearing. She's not wearing. Is that supposed to be her evening gown? She practically it looks like she's already stripped as it is.
Well, pretty much.
No complaints here.
Oh, no complaints. I'm just saying. I don't understand. But yeah, this is definitely Russo. And you know what else is Russo? Now that you're kind of showing me all this, like these short, quick matches, these all these segments that like don't actually have wrestling. Is all linked to Russo. So the only thing that's the saving grace for this is that there's so many like great personalities involved. Obviously, like you have Vince, you have the Undertaker, you have Big Show.
So here she is just grinding. I guess that's her thing. Well, sure. She just grinds. It's pretty scandalous. There's nothing to do with wrestling here. This has nothing to do with wrestling.
This is just for the guys that want to see hot chicks. Which
here comes Val Venus.
That's what it's for. Okay, I didn't figure that out.
It has nothing to do with. This is definitely.
Oh, this is Val Venus.
Yeah, this is killing the business though, Vlad. Right? Come on. This is too much. And this is for the women's championship. You know that, for the WWF Women's Championship.
Oh, because Sable's the women's.
Sable's the champion. So Val Venus has nothing to do with this, and he comes out because. It just calls to Val Venus, right? But they were even asking Shawn Michaels, like, what the hell? He's not involved in this. And I guess Sable's going to win. So she's going to rip it.
So there really wasn't a match. There really wasn't much of anything.
5 stars right here. 5 stars.
5. What is wrong with you? This is a 10-star classic.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vlad. You're right. I undersold it.
I mean, geez, you're.
Well, there's Nicole Bass. She's Sable's valet, I guess, and she's trying to get at Val Venus, right? And he doesn't want. Oh, and there's Jeff Jarrett, synonymous with Vince Russo. So, guitar shot to the head.
You know what? Yes, this is definitely all connected. This whole segment was probably written by Russo completely, like the whole thing from top to bottom.
All right, so Michael Cole comes out. He's going to interview Sable, I guess, for keeping the title. But
they're going to have an interview after this disastrous segment? They're going to have an interview. Wow.
Shawn Michaels is going to come out, and he's going to say, as the commissioner, since he's the commissioner, that she didn't actually win the match because he thinks the winner of an evening gown match is the woman who gets their clothes stripped off. Yeah. So he's going to take the title from Sable and give it to Deborah McMichael. Is she called Deborah McMichael here, or is she just called Deborah? I think she's just called Deborah.
Idea.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think she was probably just Deborah. Probably not McMichael anymore.
I think just Deborah.
So there he is taking the belt from her. He's going to hand it over to the new women's champion of the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, the belts don't mean matter to Russo, so yeah.
But God, what an insult to women! Like the women's champion, this is all they're good for. Like they didn't have any female workers at this time, though, right? I mean, I guess Sable was a worker. They probably worked a match with her, I think.
But not a very good one, you know. Well, Trish was already there, no? Or no?
No, I don't think so. But I think it's Lita was the first one that I can remember that really started.
I think Trish was there by '99 already.
I don't know. I didn't see her in this episode, but Anyways,
Yeah.
let's move on with the show. They're still promoting this main event, which is a good thing. It's good to have a thread throughout the show, keeping people interested that there's a main event coming. All right, so here's another stable rivalry matchup. So it's Test against Big Boss Man. I don't think I listed this earlier.
They both passed away, right? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. God rest their souls. Interesting match. So this is a nightstick on a pole match.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
I remember this.
This is definitely Russo. The stipulation is definitely Russo.
What? Anything on a pole is a Russo idea?
Anything, yeah, anything on a pole. Well, look
Did
at
he-
all his WCW ideas. Viagra on a pole, Judy Bagwell on a pole.
Yeah. So they could
I mean,
whatever they get from the
anything on a
pole.
pole is a Russo idea for sure.
So for you wrestling fans out there who might be young kids, in these type of matches, they put something up high up on a pole, and if you get it, you can use it legally in the match. In this case, it's a weapon. So I guess Test gets the weapon, but somehow it was off camera. But somehow Bossman got his hands on a nightstick too. So this was a confusion that the commentators were like, "What the hell? Where did he even get that?" So he ends up using the nightstick right here when he's about to get rolled up, but bonks him on the head with it, sits on him. At least he doesn't put all his weight on him. That was nice of him. There's an old match for you. Test versus Big Boss Man. A win for the corporate ministry in this one. So Val Venus, he wants Jeff Jarrett because he hit him on the head with the guitar, so he's pissed off at him. That's going to happen later. Jeff Jarrett versus Val Venus. So that's not over. Let's see. This is Midian and Viscera against Cactus Jack. I don't know. I guess it's a fair fight somehow because Cactus Jack is crazy. So this was like a hardcore match. A few chair shots, but nothing like egregious. Nothing too wild. But this is the ending right here. I guess he low blows him and he gets a chair, does like a little splash with a chair. So nothing too crazy. You know, he didn't have to like railroad him with a fucking bus to beat him. That was an okay match for a hardcore match. They didn't sell out, kill the business or anything, I think. China, so they're interviewing her about her upcoming match with Shamrock. Any chance that was a Vince Russo idea? I mean, that seems like a weird idea, male versus female.
Probably. He was a big fan of China, so probably.
She says she gets very moody every 28 days, and this is one of those days.
Oh no!
And she says the balls are in her court tonight, and tonight she might step on them. She's threatening Ken Shamrock. So let's see what's coming up next. So it's going to be... Oh, Shawn Michaels also booked Bradshaw against Farouk just for fun with a lumberjack match. Again,
Damn.
with all the union in the lumberjack.
This is just an outrageously stupid show, Kalen. That's to be honest. Even despite all these great personalities, this is just beyond. This is just terrible. This is
at the point where WCW have already like been beaten. Like WWF is riding high at this point.
Sure.
Right?
No, I understand.
All
But
right.
this is not good.
So these two guys are partners, but Shawn Michaels for gags wants to make them fight, and they're like, "We're not doing it. We're friends." And then Farouk says, "Well, we all know who would win if that actually happened." And they look at each other and are like, "Yeah, obviously it would be me." So they're like staring at each other like, "It'd be me, right?" And then Bradshaw tells them, "For the past months or years, I've proven I can outdrink you. Don't make me prove I can outfight you." And then Farouk says, "I'll be damned." And Bradshaw says, "Don't make me ruin our team by handing you your ass." So they kind of look at each other. It's a little testy for a little bit, and they ended up fighting because they wanted to prove who would win. So they do have a match. Pretty interesting match. So they're partners, but they're going at it. They found a reason to fight. Again, here, look at them flying off the ropes. Look at Bradshaw. Did you see that? That was pretty athletic looking. Let's jump to the end. Oh, the ministry comes in. They're like, "Stop fighting. Like, that's enough." And then they end up getting jumped by the union people on the outside. So this turns into another big melee. So this show is just chaos, just nonstop chaos. They're gonna whoop on Viscera and this whole union corporate ministry thing. This war is hot. Too much chaos, Vlad, or what? Is this show too crazy?
Wait, so
Yeah.
Mick Foley went from Cactus Jack to
Yeah. He
Mick
came
Foley.
out as a lumberjack as Mankind, so he's had 2 appearances today.
Oh wow!
This was another match. Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe
Oh goodness!
against the Mean Street Posse. and they would.
I mean,
This is horrible. This is horrible.
let me just say a couple things. Why you could keep going through, but let me just say a couple things. Okay, the reason why this is bad is not because it has nothing to do with the personalities involved or the fact, because obviously there's the legends and Hall of Famers and some of the greatest wrestlers of all time on this show, but it's where it loses all understanding or just completely Russo is these quick, pointless matches that have no purpose and no idea. These kind of gang warfare type matches, and then all these silly matches in between. This is just like Pat Patterson versus Dimitri Posse. I mean, why would anybody even book that? I mean, unless it's just you don't value any type of you don't really care who's wrestling or what's going on in the ring. You know, it's insane. So yeah, this is all Russo. This show is a very good example of Russo style book for sure.
I just saw it because I was just skimming through some summaries and I saw a couple things with Jeff Jarrett, evening gown match, you know, so I just figured. So I was like, let's take a stab at it. All right, so let's jump to the end of this. I guess they win with like dual figure fours. These guys were wrestlers though, Briscoe and Patterson. They're really old.
Well,
here,
well, yeah. They were wrestlers in the 70s and 80s, maybe, but 60s, 70s, and 80s. But
and then, they came out. I didn't tell you, but they came out to Hulk Hogan's "I'm a Real American." So
they did.
And at the end of the match, Pat Patterson takes his shirt off and does the whole Hulk Hogan thing. So there's that. Okay, is this good wrestling, Vlad? Is this any better than AEW or what?
Oh wow. This is a bad example, but yeah, this is
a bad example. Come on, we could come up with more shows. We could go to the next episode. I'm sure there'll be something.
No, I understand. I understand. Yeah, this is not good. No, I already told you this is terrible. This is a terrible wrestling show as far as what I like about wrestling. But yeah, I'm sure some people liked it, but this is not what I would like in a wrestling show at all.
All right, well, let's finish it off. So let's see what comes up next. So Shamrock, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's like, I've been backed into a corner. What can I do? He has to do the match, but he doesn't want to hit a woman, obviously. Jeff Jarrett's coming out. He's with Deborah, and he's going to face Val Venus. Jeff Jarrett's catchphrase at this point was, "Don't piss me off." It wasn't Slapnuts yet. I guess Slapnuts came with WCW, right? So
yeah, he leaves for WCW pretty soon.
I like Jeff Jarrett, though. If Robert, I don't know if you know this, but he's my favorite wrestler.
We know.
He's my favorite wrestler.
You try to sneak that in every other show. That he's your favorite wrestler. How could we not know by
look
that?
at his work. He actually sells every single time. He's flawless. He's a flawless worker. Like when someone throws a punch, he's gonna sell it. I see people who just don't sell sometimes. I like the way he sells. It's like really trying to play it up for the crowd, but it really works for me. Here's another one. See, as a worker,
I will say that Jeff Jarrett is a good worker.
Throws his face, you know, like it looks like he took a punch for real. But anyways, let's skip to the end of the match. Here's the Vince Russo booking that I thought of. So here comes
Is this a 2-hour show? How long is this show?
Yeah, it's a 2-hour show. 2 hours. So Deborah comes out, and she's going to take her top off to distract Val Venus. But I've seen
she was already naked. Well, not naked. You know what I mean? She was half naked, just like in a couple segments previously. So
we've seen this before, though, not before Vince Russo. Like Terry Runnels did this, right, in WWF TV. Same thing. She actually took her top off, though, but away from the camera, like on this side of the ring. Sure. So this is not necessarily Vince Russo booking. But anyway, so the ref is distracted. Jeff Jarrett bonks him on the head with a foreign object, as they say, and gets the pinfall. What do you think of the booking of the ending of this match, Vlad? Would you use that, the female distraction? I guess, you know? It's too outright, right? It's too outright.
That's not the worst of it, but the worst of it is just if you combine it with everything else that's happened on the show, it's already like there's just so much craziness. There's just so chaotic, and it's just there's actually no wrestling that's really going on. These guys are having very few actual matches. It's all just this is what Russo thinks wrestling is. It's just a couple quick matches, get that out of the way to formulate what he really wants to show. This kind of like garbage TV.
This is kind of reminiscent of Dynamite, though. It's just a lot of stuff jam packed into 2 hours, right?
Well, Dynamite has other problems. They actually will have matches with guys that nobody cares about and actually go 15, 20 minutes. So no, it's different. Russo thinks that wrestling should just be garbage, and AW's problem is that they think every match should be 5 stars, even when it's like a throwaway TV match, So against guys that we've never heard of. So it's two different things, two different problems. Both problems, but two different issues.
Well, all right. So here comes the male versus female match. What do you think is going to happen in this match? You guys got any guesses? Hit China or no?
I think China's going to beat him.
Oh, this is the week before. She was a special referee last week, and she low-blowed the shit out of Ken Shamrock the week before, so she has no problems hitting him. Let's move along and see what happened. Here comes Ken Shamrock, and he's like, I'm not hitting you. He's telling her, look, I'm not hitting you. She pushes, she slaps him. Triple H is in there. I don't know why. I don't know if they're still together at this point or if this was past that point, but they're still together, like, on camera, I guess. I think he's going to choke her here because she punched him. So there, he took a punch, and he can't take it anymore. And there's the choke. So there's man on female violence.
You definitely won't see this today. That doesn't fly today.
And then he's going to take another punch, and I think he's going to give her a belly-to-belly is what's going to happen. So he's going to give her this move, and the crowd goes nuts. And then love Ken Shamrock, though. He was a really good character.
I love Ken Shamrock. I think he's fantastic. I mean, he's crazy as hell, but he's obviously he's a legit UFC fighter. Yeah. So Shamrock is great.
So that's what happened. There was no match. There wasn't even a match. You see? Another thing.
But there hasn't been a match pretty much all show. There hasn't actually been a wrestling match all show. So, yeah, the one thing, this has great personalities. And look, I mean, obviously, the main event is going to be awesome. I don't know why Stone Cold's wearing those red boxers. I've never seen him in those.
And there's Shawn Michaels wearing what he's wearing. Oh, God.
And what is he, the special referee or something?
He's the special ref, yeah. He booked himself as the special referee. So there comes Shawn Michaels, ever the showman, as he always is. The showstopper. There's Shane O'Mac coming out with The Undertaker and Triple H and Chyna. I guess she's with them after she's had her match tonight. So Vince comes out first, and I think they're going to jump him before the rest of the guys can get in the ring. Yeah, so there goes Shane jumping. And this, you see, the main event started, and there's 5 minutes left on the show, Vlad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It has some of the biggest stars involved, but they left them 5 minutes just to show you.
But that's what they used to do back in the days. The biggest stars would come out for a little bit on the weeklies, and you'd have to pay for the pay-per-view to actually see them in a long, serious match. So there's a tombstone to Vince.
No.
Worked pretty safe. No, not always. I don't know. I kind of always remember it that way, where the hot moments only came at the very, very end. Like, we had to sit through all that junk for 5 minutes of this at the end.
They would have an opening segment, and they would have a closing segment, probably. But sometimes they were linked throughout the show. But anyways, this is a terrible show. I mean, look at all the legends involved. Like, there's The Undertaker, there's Shawn Michaels, there's The Rock,
Vince. Vince getting strangled by The Undertaker on the outside. The Rock, I guess, has a broken arm in this. He's selling a broken arm because I think Triple H did it to him.
Triple H. I mean, it's just legends upon legends, but they don't even...
Stone Cold's music hit. I don't know why he took so long getting out there. They didn't really...
He needed to take off his red shorts first.
Yeah, probably couldn't get out of those red shorts. He's why the hell am I... He probably was arguing with whoever wrote it. Like, what the hell am I wearing this shit for?
So the roof erupted when Stone Cold's music hit, obviously.
Yeah, as it did many times throughout that era, yeah.
So they have a little brawl. It's a bunch of crazy things going on. If I could jump to what happens at the very end. Here's a rock bottom from The Rock to Triple H. The Undertaker's going to break up the count. Shane is pounding his dad, Vince, with elbows, and then he's going to try to take out Stone Cold, but he's going to get hit with the stunner instead. And Vince is going to try to put the pinfall on him, but Stone Cold is not going to let him do the pinfall because he doesn't want him to get the win. He doesn't want Vince getting the win. So he's going to pick Shane up, give him the middle finger, and stunner him again, and pin him himself. So that was cool, obviously. Stone Cold has the crowd in the palm of his hand.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, of course, everyone's here to see him, and the place is just blowing up. It's blowing up. So this is good, but yeah, everything that we had to sit through, Jesus, if you really wanted to watch a 2-hour show and get to this point, God, it was a long show, and then they drink beer at the end, and that's the end of the
Yeah.
show. So there you go. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, that was not good.
Okay. So I all right. So I have some thoughts. So
Sure.
during this time, I forgot how old I was. I might have been like 15, 16 maybe. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
this was, pre like social media. The internet was just starting, so it was very hard to have access to like backstage reports and stuff like that. So I was just, whatever I saw on TV, that's all I knew about wrestling, right? And I enjoyed it very much. I have very fond memories of it. But now, like doing this, where we're rewatching an old episode, and kind of watching this, without the lens of nostalgia, a lot of this looks really, really bad. So I didn't,
Right?
I didn't realize like how bad it actually was until watching it back. Maybe this was just a particularly bad episode, but kind of a good reminder, like, watching some of these old episodes, like you kind of realize how different things are now, and maybe like some of my taste, maybe it's because my tastes have changed. I'm not sure, but it just a lot of this wouldn't fly today, and I would think if this was being aired today, I would think it's garbage. Well, of course they had the star power, like The Rock and Stone Cold. That was like their saving grace, was their personalities and characters. But majority of that episode is pretty garbage.
Man, could you give it a grade? I mean, if you took just the main event stuff, the stuff with the superstars, it wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if you want to like,
was great.
yeah, if you want to actually analyze it the way we do though, and we critique and criticize AEW for every minute detail, we have to do the same here. If you would look at the whole show as a whole, it was probably like, what would you say, Vlad? A C show, maybe? I mean, there was something in there for us to chew on.
That was a D show. That was a terrible show.
Well, if you went there, you got to see Stone Cold, you got to see, The Rock, and there was like raucous. You couldn't hear there was no audio on our clip, but the people had a fun time.
I'll give it a C just because of the nightgown match. There was that. So
there you go.
What
do you think, Vlad?
I mean, this is everything that I also hate about wrestling. I mean, I'm trying to find some balance between. This is like the other extreme of AEW. So I wouldn't compare it to AEW. This is like the totally opposite extreme. This is the garbage wrestling, but in a different type of garbage wrestling. This is just like literally crash TV, 3-minute, 4-minute matches that don't really mean anything. Just funny, stupid matches that are irrelevant. Women, those bra and panties matches. And then leave the main event, which are like the biggest stars in the business, 5 minutes to close the show. That's okay. I mean, I don't know, but AEW, like I said, it's the other extreme where they have matches that should be like 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, and something like that. But yeah, so it's two different. Like I was trying to say during the show, it's two different problems. But yeah, Russo's. I'm guessing Russo was the head writer still at this point. But either way, his imprint is all over this show. Yeah.
And his imprint is kind of all over wrestling. Like today, like AEW wrestling in particular.
Well, I just told you I disagree. I completely disagree. I told you AEW has a totally different problem. They don't have a Russo problem. They don't have that problem. They have there's some moments of that, like that stuff on Collision with the Mexican guys, the Roosh and stuff. That's something Russo would write. But that stuff where like they're kidnapped in Mexico or whatever, that's just stupid, right? But that's, But
I'm just saying there's like tons of ideas, just tons of like different things just thrown at the wall, left and right, this and that, and this and that.
I just think that they have a different problem. Their problems are like different than the problems of like getting past Russo's type of booking.
No, I'm not saying they're like exactly like Russo, but I'm just saying I see like some influence of this generation. Like Tony Khan.
Well, give me an example.
Just like the how jam packed this show was. You were even saying like how long was this show? It was just 2 hours. It's like Dynamite, where it's just like there was just so much in it. Like compared to the modern Raw, where it's just like nothing happens. You could skip forward like 30 minutes to see just the ending of the match of some match.
Right. They had more in this 2 hours than Raw probably has in a month currently, right? So absolutely, but the problem is it's just too much for one show, and it's a lot of just silly haha bullshit I think this is funny. Haha, let me write this as a thing. So it's not to be taken serious. It's nothing to be taken seriously, So yeah, even the main event is as good as those personalities are. It's clouded by all that nonsense, So it's hard to take even that seriously, even with all the big names involved, So,
But you would put Vince Russo up there in the pantheon of people to blame for ruining wrestling, right?
Yeah. But in that case, but I also put Vince McMahon in the pantheon of people that ruined wrestling. So because of what he did to the territory.
He put it out there. He agreed to put these shows out there too. Like all these ideas got approved.
Yes, of course.
All these ideas got approved.
He did not only that, but yes, that part of it, but also even before that. And plus, he made it clear that this was all a work and this is not real in one of those opening, back in late 97, 90, early 98. He just said, oh, what we do here is entertainment. It's not. I mean, basically to that point. Yeah, I would say that Vince McMahon, as successful as he is, and obviously being the one company basically left of all the different wrestling territories, he did more than harm to wrestling than anybody.
Yeah, because also it got real cartoony when they got hot in the 80s when WrestleMania was kicking off and all that. I would point to the Doink the Clown type of character. I was
thinking Doink the Clown also.
Yeah, so this was something that people would look at. Although Doink, if you're a wrestling fan, it's a cool character in a way. But I think people would look not just him, but the Bushwhackers and people like that. WCW also in 93, 94 was going kind of in that same vein. At this point, maybe Russo was saying, yeah, wrestling is bullshit anyways, so why not just do a bunch of ridiculous, crazy ideas and get people to just stop changing the channel once they come here,
Well, that's his problem. He thinks wrestling is bullshit, but he wants to make money off it. But that's the problem right there. A lot of people that hate him don't think it's bullshit. Obviously, they've made their life worth, all the money they've had from the wrestling business. So they don't consider it bullshit. They think that it's something to be valued and respected because they've been involved with it for whatever amount of years. I'm not just talking about Cornette because obviously I'm talking about anybody. A lot of people have issues with Russo, but I think Cornette's just the most vocal about how much he hates him. Right?
But he hates Russo, but he wouldn't put that same hate towards Vince, though, even though you're saying Vince is maybe just as much to blame. In a lot of ways, maybe more.
Not as much, but I think he understands that Vince did what he had to do for business. He did what he had to do to be the sole survivor of the wrestling wars. He didn't have to break up the territories, but he chose to. But he understands that it was a business decision to be number one. So I don't think he can hate him on that. I mean, I think he's criticized a lot of Vince's style of wrestling in the past because Cornette grew up in Southern wrestling, so he knows that it's totally different than WWE, WWF wrestling. So, yeah.
All right. Well, listen, let's wrap up this conversation. We do got to get to some modern reviews. So.
Yeah, modern wrestling.
Yeah.
To put a pin on it, this was a great example of Russo's style booking. The show you pulled up a great one, a great example. And this is everything that I hate and about wrestling. But I also want to make it clear that it's not like an AEW issue. They have some examples of something like this, but their stuff is more, like I said, their mindset is more independent wrestling than whatever the hell.
But
Russo
also
style wrestling.
Also, I'll comment that just from watching the show, I didn't see any problem with any of the work, the actual in-ring fighting.
How much was there?
There wasn't that much there.
No, but I didn't see anything bad. Everything was, except maybe Mark Henry. I saw him stomping on Kane, and there was no selling. But most of it was pretty solid, just in terms of not seeing anything weird, not seeing any intense, 5 false finish match or anything, or 3-4 false finishes. Everything was just fine. I didn't see anything bad. We'll put a pin on that. Maybe in the future we'll be bored again someday and want to watch another trash Vince Russo show just for fun. I mean, it was fun. Come on. There was a lot of old ideas there that from our childhood.
Before we go, as you went through it, what grade would you give it? Because I think
I gave it a C. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of bad stuff.
Any specific reason? I mean, is it also because of the nightgown match?
No, I didn't give it an F because I thought there was something there for the fans. At least they got to see some real good excitement.
Because
a little bit.
To see Stone Cold, because they got to see Stone Cold the last 5 minutes of the night.
Yes, yeah, that's why. Other than that, if that wasn't there, it would have been an F show. Yeah, pretty much. Like literally remove
Okay,
that.
I mean, I disagree. I mean, there's plenty of times throughout the years that I've seen Stone Cold, and there have been A shows where Stone Cold has been on, and I would just say that's an A show. I'm not going to just give it just a higher grade just because Stone Cold came out the last 5 minutes of a show. And I mean, as much as I love Steve Austin, I think Steve Austin's one of the greatest of all time.
Okay, I'll give it a C minus.
Yeah.
Fine, you convinced me. What do you give it? An F? Is this an F show to you?
No, he gave it a
No,
D.
I gave it a D. I gave it a D.
Okay. All right then.